Hey everybody, Movie Review Next Door here, and I'm back again with another movie review, and this time I am reviewing Parallel. Sorry about the black dots, a dead pixel on my phone, I can't help it. This is a 2018 sci-fi thriller film directed by Isaac Asimov, and it stars Amal Amin, Martin Wallstrom, Georgia King, Margot Bryan, Alyssa Diaz, David Harewood, and Kathleen Quinlan. In this film, a group of friends stumble upon a mirror that serves as a portal to a multiverse, but soon discover that importing knowledge from the other side in order to better their lives brings increasingly dangerous consequences. So, what did I think about Parallel? Well, this is another, again, I've been going through a lot of Prime movies that I saw like back before I had this channel, but I wasn't like uploading regularly or like uploading things I had just seen. But um this is one of those films I watched around the same time I saw Silent Trigger and Detention and Haywire, Force of Nature with, um, I do mean with Mel Gibson because he's barely in it, which it's an okay movie. I'm not big on it, but this is a film that I've always thoroughly enjoyed. And I can even say at this point, I love this movie. I really do. Now, I understand that a lot of people in the comments or excuse me, I keep saying comments, the reviews on Letterboxd say that this is like a dumbed down Coherence. I have not seen Coherence from 2013. I know that it's apparently really confusing and really complex. Just I'm saying this right now, I have not seen the movie. I'm not judging the film without seeing it, but I think it's a bit unfair to compare movies to other movies when I mean, how many freaking things can you do in the sci-fi genre, the action genre, really to be like original? Like, and I think you should just judge a film for what it is and not be comparing it constantly to other films because there are films that have copied other films that I've liked more than the original films. Freaking, I like, um, well, there have been like American remakes of films that I've liked more than the original. Like, I like Wish Upon with Joey King. Yes, I like Wish Upon more than the original film titled Feng Shui, the original Filipino film. I know that's a controversial opinion, and a lot of Filipino people love that movie. That is cool. If you love it, that's perfectly fine. I'm not going to judge you differently for it. I'm just going to say that I honestly hate that movie. But with this film, let me get to the cast. Amal Amin does a great job in the main role as excuse me, Devin. My eyes are failing me. Um, that these four main characters are all part of like a group that's trying to make like a parking app. Um, and uh, they all have unique personalities that I really liked. I like to see films like this that have such a focus on the characters and like character progression where the characters feel complex, and this film does it. Um, Amal Amin, I have not seen him in a lot of things. He's in a recent film titled Deadshot. He's in with Colin Morgan, Mark Strong, and Felicity Jones. I have not seen it yet. It does sound interesting, but he does a great job. He has some nice emotional moments. Uh, Martin Wallstrom as Noel. He's good. I will say one of my only nitpicks with his performance is he is a Swedish actor, and he does let his Swedish accent slip through quite a few times. It doesn't really like take away from his performance because I do like his performance. I think the way he played the character was fun and interesting. But yeah, that was one thing. Georgina King as Lena, uh, very pretty actress. She's Scottish. I she did an amazing American accent. Um, but uh, she did a great job. I really did like her. again, another very different character than the others, especially given her motivations and things and what she goes through. Mark O'Brien as Josh, probably my favorite character in the entire film. He's kind of the like horn dog character. He's really keeps going after this like bartender that he really likes, even though she has a boyfriend. Um, he's kind of a fuck up, and I can kind of identify with him in that way. But yeah, I mean, he's just really a fun character that I did really grow to like. Alyssa Diaz as Carmen. Again, she's a bartender girl. She's not in the film a lot, but I thought I might as well mention her. She was fine. David Harewood, uh, as Devon's father. He gets one scene in the film and he's pretty all right. I do like the actor. He was in a film. I think a film that gives him a little bit more to do, but not a lot. Spooks: The Greater Good, which is the movie tie-in to the TV show from Britain, which I really do like that movie quite a bit. Um, all y'all should check it out if you like spy thriller type of stuff. And Kathleen Quinlan as Marissa, she essentially has one scene at the beginning, but it's a really good scene. It really is. It really sets you up for the tone of the film very well, and it's a real shock. And if you see the scene, you'll know what I mean. It's a really compelling opening that really it does what a sci-fi thriller should do in their first scene. In its first scene is really get you hooked on the story and wonder, wait, what just happened? What's going on? And the film does explain it very well. Now, this is a film that deals with multiverses. We have seen multiple films like this. Mandela Effect, which I'm tied with this and Mandela Effect as my favorite like multiverse film so far because I really do fucking love Mandela Effect and how it gets so much information across within it's a very short runtime of 79 minutes. Um like literally that's a really short film and it feels like so jam-packed with like information and like mythos and it just felt like such a real world and I love that director. I want him to do another film, David Guy Levy. But this film again, everybody's heard of the multiverse shit. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, The Flash, um, the Supergirl TV show dealt with multiverses. So many Infinity War Endgame, like so many fucking superhero movies have used the multiverse thing that it's gotten really old. But I went to this film and it just raises like I feel like the thing that really draws me to this film is it's a very simple premise and it doesn't overcomplicate things. And I I understand people keep comparing this to other film. Um, I mm, sorry about that. Um, but Coherence. Like a lot of people compared it to Coherence. Coherence sounds very it sounds like a film I'd more appreciate for what it's trying to do than appreciate it as like a great film to watch. Again, I will see it at some point, but with this film, I think what this film is able to do with such a simple premise is very interesting in the many ways that they take it because you could have very easily done an Inception with this where you take the awesome premise of like reading people's dreams and all that and you make it just boring and bland and oh the city's flipping over itself how dreamlike. Inception's such a stupid movie. um I'm sorry, Christopher Nolan fanboys. I hate Inception. Maybe I'll review it someday. I thought it was so fucking boring. Anyway, with this film, again, it's not an original premise. These four like young adults trying to finish an app in time to sign with a major company and get a bunch of money for it. Or maybe the app will take off. sorry, got a lash in my eye. Um, Basically find this hidden room in this house that they're in. This really fucking beautiful house. This was filmed in Canada. I really want to know where this house is, but it the they find this like secret room in the attic, and they find a mirror that once you go through it, you're in an alternate universe where time moves a lot slower. Um, and just that simple premise, they go through it and they finish the app real quick and they start making a lot of money, but then things start to go wrong. It sounds kind of like a Twilight Zone episode. And that's probably why I love these types of films so much, because it reminds me of old Twilight Zone and what 80s Twilight Zone and the current Twilight Zone, the awful one with Jordan Peele, that had like maybe one or two good episodes in total, and they did multiple seasons. Like, I hated that. But like, it's one of those that this film really does make you feel like you're watching old-timey Twilight Zone in that way, and I loved it for that. This film I don't think this film thinks it's trying to I don't think this film thinks it's doing something new, and I can kind of appreciate a filmmaker not being like, "Oh, this has never been done before, right?" Or a film that's just weird to be weird, because that to me comes off as like somebody who feels like they need to be heard instead of like doing it because they love it. Instead of doing it because they love it, they're like, "Oh, look at me. Look how weird my movie is. People will read into random bullshit in my movie when it in reality has no meaning." That kind of shit is rampant nowadays, especially like really it's just a really stupid thing that I see in like art film circles, especially on Reddit. You get a lot of people on Reddit that get mad if you question A24. Like, if you're like, oh, A24 horror isn't really that scary, which is what I said, and then you get a bunch of downvotes and people saying, you don't understand the horror just because it's not jump scares. I love psychological horror. One of my favorite fucking horror movie is Stonehurst Asylum. As of now, my favorite horror movie is Stonehurst Asylum. Another one of them is Gothica. Yes, Gothica has some jump scares, but overall, it's more that it has like a very dread-filled atmosphere. And same with Stonehurst Asylum. It's a very like gothic type of thing, and it's more relying on the atmosphere and the performances to get across the creepy tone, because Ben Kingsley is a very scary actor at many times, and especially in that film. Sorry if you hear cats. But with this film, again, what they've done with such a simple premise in making like adding some like extra meat to it without making it so confusing that no one can follow it. I think that this is a very, other than like some bits of like blood and gore near the end, I think this is a very easy to recommend film. I'm not saying everybody will find it to be like a masterpiece or anything, or find it really fucking good like I do, but I think that people can at least appreciate this film for doing something very interesting. And this film looks really good. It doesn't like go all out on a ton of CGI or anything. Most of this film's effects are in camera, especially the gore at the end. There's some really fucking good gore. This isn't a slasher movie, but like there's a bit where a character gets well, I don't want to give anything away, but there's a character that gets killed in a very graphic way, and it's legitimately an amazing practical effect. It really is. But for the most part, this film insinuates a lot of things instead of being like, "Oh, look at this amazing thing I have," and showing it on camera. And a lot of the sci-fi tech that is shown in this is very cool. It's very interesting. A lot of it has actually have a lot of the things have practical uses, and it's nice to see sci-fi films still do this because when a sci-fi film doesn't have like new tech in it and it's just like, oh, they're using the same old Glocks, they're using the same old trucks and all that, I find that kind of boring. And I'm like, why didn't you put a little bit more thought into the world? And this film does. And a lot of the things that are here are stuff that like are things that people have like patents for that they haven't fully completed yet. And that's the whole thing of this like multiverses. In this other multiverse, these like a certain character will steal an idea and be able to expand upon it and actually make the idea come true because he has so much time in the basement as long as he's not caught by the alter ego versions of themselves. It's so interesting. And I'm like, it's not that this film has like terrible reviews online. On IMDb it has a 5.8 out of 10. Um and Letterboxd it has like a 2.8, which is like I'm fine with that. But God, it's just such a it's such a compelling story, such very interesting characters that go through really nice arcs that I wasn't expecting. And this film has some very unexpected twists that are pretty shocking, I thought. And again, I don't like the film just because of the twist. There's so many other things. The score is very nice. When the characters are in like the mirror like in the other universes or when they're in the parallel universes, there's a really interesting like bloom effect and the camera goes into like Dutch angles. It's in camera tricks and it's not like overdoing it with the dream like effect, and it has like a slight blue tint to it. I like when films do that because it actually if it had just stayed like the same look, it would have been so much more confusing. Because again, I'm not saying that I'm like an idiot, but I'm also not the smartest person alive. And when shows do that, where they're like, "Oh, we're in the past," but they don't tell you that, like the show This Is Us constantly did that. It kind of annoys me and takes me out of a lot of it because I'm like, okay, when is this supposed to be? Because sometimes it'll be like the same actors, but like this movie remedies that by actually having the mirror universe look different, and whenever the like mirror versions are like interacting with the real life versions, there's like a bit of an effect on them, and I don't know. I just really freaking love this film. It's so hard to talk about because I don't want to give anything away with this, especially with movies that I love. I hate giving things away, but I will just say this. This is on Prime. It's on Peacock, it's on Tubi, it's on Roku channel. Watch it on one of those and get back to me. Put in the comments if you liked it and just let me know cuz I've really liked this film for a long time. Loved it. I love this film. I really do. And I'm not gonna say like it's a modern classic or anything, but I thoroughly enjoyed it the multiple times I've watched it and noticed new things every time I've watched it. So that's where I'm gonna end it. Um, if you liked the review, comment down below. Tell me if you saw the film, if you what you thought of it, and movie reviewer next door out.